Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studio. Ooh, that was a catch in my voice there. All the way live from Black Pearl Studios. We talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Now, normally, I do my rant early, but I have a special guest. He is my partner in crime when it comes to IDAAC, Indy. I want to get him on early. I don't want y'all to miss a thing. Y'all, welcome the newly minted president of IDAAC, Indy, Sean Johnson. Sean, welcome to the show.
What is going on? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is not my first, nor will it be my last time on Turn Left.
Oh, no.
Let's get to it. I'm excited.
I love it. So for those of you who are not familiar, IDAAC stands for the Indiana Democratic African American Caucus. And this year, Sean was voted in as president of the Indy chapter. I ain't got nothing else better to do, or I ain't got enough work to do, I should say. I was voted in as the vice president of the organization. And we have Sherry Himes, who is our treasurer, and Dr. Delilah Hood, who is our secretary. So we have a full executive committee, and we are about to get busy about talking to our community. But before we get into what IDAAC is and what we'll be working on, Sean, just give the folk a little bit about who you are and why you wanted to take on this responsibility.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Black man. Second, I'm a father. And I wanted to do something that was deep rooted, right? Something that reflected our community and reflected who I am as an advocate, as a political. I am a lifelong learner. I am a lover of all things Black. I've supported so many candidates around our state and continue to do the work. So I'm excited. I am humbled that I was given the opportunity to step into my power as a Black man. And that's just a major shout out to Lindsey Brown, our state chair, and the rest of the board.
I got to tell y'all, so when you're an old head and you pour energy into young people and you encourage them to go out and seek their greatness and you mentor them the best way you can, be careful how much you pour into them, because what they end up doing is coming back to you and being like, Auntie, come on, run this organization with me. Now, me personally, there was no way I could have been encouraging Sean to find his greatness as a young man. And then as soon as he reached out to me and asked me for help, I turned him down. There was just no way that was going to happen. So y'all know my story. I ain't got to go into who I am and what I do. Y'all know what I do. I'm the Indiana Democratic Party's loudest mouth in the business. And I am here to be a support to his leadership. And let me explain why. There are a couple of main reasons why. And these are things that I don't have a problem saying to Sean in person or saying publicly. One, my first job is to have his back, right? My job is to have his back, because when you out here doing the work, there are often people who don't always see things your way or like the way you do it. So it's my job to back him up and be like, nah, we over here doing what we do. The second reason is it is my job as his elder to make sure if things are not going in the right way, I advise him. I give him the tutelage that he needs as an old head. I still allow him to he makes the decisions, not allow, he makes the decisions. My job is to be his support. So that's why me and him are going to be great partners in this thing. So Sean, Tell us why it was so important for you to revive IDAAC and what we were hearing in the streets while we were out here doing our regular work.
So, one, I want to highlight uh, the redistricting effort of our General Assembly coming down from the federal level. They are preparing to eliminate our voice at the federal level. And for those who know and understand, the great Andre Carson does so much for us in this area. And not only that, for us as African American people. And so I felt the need to really revitalize this and get down to the grassroots organizing to do what we need to do. And I knew there were resources available from IDAAC to help in this effort. And ultimately, I could not sit back and allow another Black man in the great Andre Carson have no support on the ground level. I just couldn't do it. So I said, you know what? This is something that I want to do. I talked to our state chair, Lindsey Brown, and had the conversation, and it was an immediate yes. So we did what we had to do. We're revitalizing the organization. We're taking it to the people, and we're making sure that we maintain our voice.
I love it. And so as we begin our strategic planning, talk about some of the things that we hope to accomplish. Everything's not going to happen tomorrow, right? It's going to take some time, but talk about some of our initiatives that we're wanting to galvanize around.
So the first things first is membership. And membership is the lifeblood of any organization. And that is one of the more famous sayings of Sheila Curry Campbell, who is a part of IDAAC, the Fort Wayne chapter. One of our missions is to change the way African American people think about politics. How do we do that? We need to open up a space for them to learn how to do that. What does that space look like? Becoming a PC, learning what a PC is, to really get out in the community and talk about the things that we hold dear as African American Democrats. Also, making sure we partner and help out our African American candidates and lift them up as far as getting the community to understand their points of view, educating the community on things that they've already done and things that they plan on doing in the future. Also, just opening up a space for people to be able, for people to feel comfortable speaking to our African American elected leaders, from Representative Chairs Pryor to the great Andre Carson to State Senator Lakeisha Jackson, really opening up those doors for people to feel comfortable. That is our job. That is our responsibility, to educate and maintain the status quo, if you will, of who we are as African American people.
Love that. So, and for me, I, as the person who claims to be the loudest mouth in Indiana Democratic politics, I heard from too many Black folks in Marion County that our party didn't speak to them. And you can't brush that off and say, they just wasn't listening. No, you have to take that as fact, that as a party, we in Marion County didn't, whether it was a statewide party or the county party, our messaging didn't speak to Black people. And when they tell you that directly, you have to figure out how to address that. And so for me, it was, if I had that many Black people saying that our party didn't speak to Black people, I took a personal responsibility for that, because here I am, a Black person who is completely engaged in politics, and I did not do my job, not, I ain't saying somebody else, right? I didn't do my job to make sure that message was resonating in my Black community. And so being with IDAAC makes it be a more targeted, focused mission to talk to African Americans in Marion County. I did the same thing when I sat on the board of Stonewall for 10 years, where I spoke directly to the LGBTQ plus community. Now I need to come home, right? Now, granted, You can't divide me in half. I'm always gonna be gay and I'm always gonna be black. But the first thing you're gonna see before you know my gender or my sexuality is that I'm black. And if you wasn't sure, my last name is Black. So, I have extra responsibility. So for me, it's, the work that we do with IDAAC at this point is to find out exactly what our community needs from us as a party, right? Where do we need to be putting our energy? Because we may think we know, right? But we don't always know. And is that why, as I explained that part, Sean, that you wanted to do the citywide tour?
That is correct. I felt the need to really, make sure everyone was involved with the mission, right? We can't say we want to change the way African Americans think about politics if we're not engaging those African American people where they are. So we've already, been to Center Township with the amazing trustee LaDonna Freeman. Next, we will be in Pike with Miss Annette Johnson, as well as spending some time with the Pike Democratic Club with Miss Claudette. I want to make sure that we really get to the root of who we are as African Americans in Indianapolis. And so that means, again, taking it to the people. And then, from Pike, we're going to move on. We're going to spend some time in Lawrence. We're going to spend some time in Warren. We're going to spend some time in Washington. We're going to make sure that we really target who we are as African American people in Indianapolis.
And I can't wait to get to some of those South Side districts, because that is where we struggle as far as getting engagement. The South Side of Indianapolis, those Perry, Franklin, and Decatur townships tend to have a higher Republican turnout. That's also where all the police officers are. I just wanted to drop that off. And so it's important for us to make sure that we're in all of the townships. Right. It is important that we meet with all the townships because we want to meet you where you are. One of the things that we talked about, or whenever people ask me, about voter turnout in Indianapolis and why it isn't higher, I mentioned that we have to make sure that we're having a message, not just for the folks at 91st and College or 82nd and Michigan Road. We also have to have a message for folks at 42nd and Post, 38th and Shadeland, 16th and Lafayette Road. We need to make sure that we're meeting people where they are. And the best way to do that is to hit all of these townships. Now, Sean, can the four of us do this work by ourselves?
No, we cannot. We cannot. We absolutely cannot. Again, as I said earlier, membership is the lifeblood of any organization. And so we are looking for any and everybody who believes in the mission to change the way African Americans think about politics to join us. Join us. Membership is only $25 annually. Can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
We'll equip you with the tools necessary to work on behalf of African American people. That is what we are here to do. Full stop. We can't continue to listen to all the bigotry and the foolishness and then not do the work. We have to. As I said to another young brother of mine, it's good to have access to these rooms and certain people, but what are you doing with that access when you leave those spaces? And so I refuse to be a person to have access to people in spaces and not advocate for the people. That's not what I will do, whether it's advocating on the city county council, whether it's advocating on the General Assembly or the federal level. It doesn't matter. That's what's good. That's what you will get from Sean Johnson.
I love that. And here's the thing, you talk about, what do you do when you're in those rooms? Listen, we ain't turning anybody away. So if you want to become a member, first and foremost, go ahead and click the link that's in this live feed right now to become a member. But if you want to do a $10 a month donation, we'll take that too, right? We are not limiting just to membership fundraising because it's going to take money and it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of volunteers. Because I want to remind everybody, there's only one elected party leader who gets a paycheck. I am not talking about staff. I'm talking about party leadership, and there's only one person, and that's the state party chair, Karen Tallian. So everybody else who is in party leadership or it literally are volunteering their time. That means you too can volunteer your time. But Sean and I don't have all the answers. We don't know John, do you know everything?
I sure don't.
Are you sure you don't know?
I
know
promise I don't. I know I don't know what I don't know, but I do know I'm willing to work hard to figure it out not only for myself, but the people around me. To me, that is what success is.
Absolutely. And listen, more than ever, we need to work together. Okay. It was not since the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and I think it was correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, the 72 Housing Act. I'm not sure if that's the correct year. Somebody correct me, but we haven't been under this much attack as Black folk by our government in a long time, in almost 50 years, right? We've always had microaggressions. We've always had individual organizations and people who are trying to bring us down. But it's been a while where it's been a systemic attack on our people. We've seen the unemployment rate of Black women go up because of how many Black women are losing their jobs. I'm not saying brothers ain't losing theirs, but it's really high, right? And think about this government shutdown that they're trying to do. Y'all need to understand the employer with the highest volume of Black employees is the government. So who is going to be hurt the most when or if there's a government shutdown? And they're not talking about laying people off or furloughing people. They're talking about flat out firing people. Okay. So if you had a disagreement with me 5 years ago, let's get past it, because I need you like you need me, and let's link arms for our Black people. And I'm being very intentional by saying Black because y'all know, as Indiana's own, I have gone into many a community. I have support. So has Sean, as a young Dem. He has gone into many a community where we were one of only one or two. Sean Johnson, let me ask you this question: Does the Indiana Democratic African American Caucus welcome our white and non-Black allies into the fold to help us out?
Yes, we do. And I also want to make very clear that is how all of our caucuses work. I pay dues to the Latino caucus. I pay dues to the LGBTQ caucus. I'm going to start paying dues to our women's caucus. Just because we're hyper focused on one thing does not mean that we don't accept everyone else. And I want to clear that notion up right here, right now. Because I've heard the chatter. Honestly, when it comes to chatter, it goes on one ear and not the other.
Baby.
But that piece right there, I wanted to make sure was very clear. Don't buy into the hype. I am your president. My name is Sean Johnson, and I do stand for Black Americans.
I love that.
Stop.
I love that. And, again, I want to let everybody know, yes, I love everybody. Y'all know I do. But here's the deal. We have to get turnout up in Marion County. And when you think about, there's about 600,000 plus registered voters in Marion County. 30% of the population in Marion County is Black. That is a significant number of people that need to be engaged, that need to be registered to vote and get to the polling places. So when we say that we need volunteers to go out and talk in the community. We need volunteers every now and then to table for us at events. We need volunteers to maybe even help people get to the polling places in May and in November. So there are a lot of we may need you to help us with some digital work or canvassing or phone banking, depending on, so no matter what your skill set is, bring it to us so that we can hyper focus our messaging to Black Marion County
Yep.
about why they need to be civically engaged. You know what I'm super excited about, Sean?
What's that?
Pastor Green
Yes.
is riding with us, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yep.
you know, he's all about that economic development,
Yep.
you know, and Black economic empowerment. There are so many people that are like, yo, you got us. We with you. So for all of my faith-based people,
Come on in. What's that? My pastor say it all the time. The doors of the church is open. Come on in.
come on
We're,
in.
we are unapologetically about uplifting Black people. Period.
And when we think about how the civil rights movement formed in the churches, when we think about Souls to the Polls was literally the Sunday that we would take everybody to the polls. I need my faith-based pastors and your congregation because they coming for all of us. It is no
Yep.
longer, you know, you cannot hide. And I'm going to say this to those of you who buy in to the fallacy that the Republican Party has a diversity program. I respect Whitley Yates. I respect her. She out here. But just like Icarus, every time a Black person gets too close to the sun, their wings melt. And somehow or another they get slapped down. Black Republicans. So don't believe the hype that because they have a Black face hype in their party that those policies are going to be meant to uplift us. They're not. And I can point them out to you, right? One by one, I can point them out to you.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're an independent and you label yourself an independent, please consider IDAAC because the policies coming from the federal government, the policies that are coming from our state house are literally going to harm our families. Tell them, Sean.
It's going to be bad. If they go through redistricting, we lose our voice at the federal level. Why is that? Why do you want to eliminate the only Black voice at the federal level? Because you're afraid of the power that he carries. Period. You're afraid that we are going to continue gaining the knowledge needed to defeat this MAGA crap. You're afraid that we're continuing to elevate ourselves to another level. You're afraid of that old saying, and not to get super religious and biblical, but whosoever last shall be first, and whosoever first shall be last. You're afraid of that, and so how do you eliminate and do and push those voices away? You redistrict them and you take away their voice to advocate for them. That's what they're doing. You take away their right to vote.
Yeah. And if your policies were good, you just run on your policies and you wouldn't have to worry about redistricting. But you got to cheat because here's the deal.
You're scared.
Oh, bro, that big ugly bill.
Terrible.
It's terrible, but they set it up so none of the worst of it doesn't even kick in until after the midterms.
Mm-hmm.
And so they know that enough of us are out here talking about how bad this bill is, how it's literally taking money away from the most vulnerable humans in our communities and giving it to the wealthiest in our communities in the form of tax breaks. Right. Yep. And so we have to, they know that they can't run on that. That's why they knew, they saw the polling, right? That's why they went to Texas first. Go get me 5 more seats.
Yep.
They went to Georgia, and don't tell me you care about democracy and representation and you've got a 7-2 advantage. So you're basically saying not one Democrat in Indiana deserves representation in Washington.
It's ridiculous. So that's why we need everybody's support. We need everyone to take up membership with us and continue to work with us to eliminate this because representation is key to anything. How can we, and this is just me being me, how can we continue to depend on people who don't look like us when they are not us? They can't speak for us like we can.
Right.
So we have to make sure we keep our voice intact. And so that's why we need everyone to join in this effort. And not even that, the leadership that has come before me, right, are our founders, right? I mean, they've done so much work in the community historically when it comes to IDAAC. So we owe it to them to continue this work and not take our foot off the gas, because it's not fair for them to put in all that work and it just go to waste.
That's right.
So we have to continue to pay it forward to the next generation. I want my daughter to not have to deal with this. I want her to go through life knowing, you know what, my daddy worked as hard as he could to make sure that I have access to these resources. And so I'm going to take full advantage of them.
I love it.
And that's what I want to leave.
I love it. Guys, we need your help, right? Click on the link, become a member. Once we get your email, we'll send you a form, right, to find out what it is that you do best to help the organization, or what it is that you want to do. We're not going to assign you or ask you to do something that you're not comfortable doing. We want you to bring whatever skill set you have. I'm talking to my teachers. We recruited just this past weekend at Representative Porter's fundraiser. We recruited a teacher to help us who teach adults, to help us put lesson plans together and do civic engagement training in our communities. Those are the kind of things that we need. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. It doesn't matter what you're capable of. We can use it. We can use every talent known to man. Even if you're a musician, come on. If you're a musician, when we have a fundraiser, could you come play a couple of tunes for us? All the things. If you're a caterer, right? Let us know that you're a caterer so that when we're hosting events, we could talk about it. We ain't asking you to cater stuff for free. We're not asking you to do that because we know you got to make your money. But what we can definitely do is what I've done before is we'll have food trucks, bring your food truck, and we'll advertise your food truck. So when we're having our event, people can go patronize you, right? There's ways for us to come together as a community to get work done. Kids, you got kids? You got kids. I know Sean just talked about his baby girl. They're never too young to get involved, right? And I'm going to tell you, when I was running for office, when I was out knocking doors and I had my little niece with me, I think she was maybe 6, 7, or 8 at the time. She's 5, actually, because it was 10 years ago. And I got more responses because I had this little girl because she was so cute and people wanted to talk to the little girl, and she would tell the little girl, my Auntie Dana is running for office. So young people, bring them in so they can witness for themselves, right, what being civically engaged looks like. Black people, I'm talking to you. This is now our time. I need my Fannie Lou Hamers. I need my Shirley Chisholms. I need my Barbara Jordans. I need my MLKs, my Malcolm X, my Medgar Evers. I need all of my people to come join the fight. Sean, I know that you are off doing your thing, so I'm not going to hold you any longer, but go ahead and just give one more message to the people as president of IDAAC Indy.
It's simple. We need to do a better job of learning to wear our hats so we can control our own narrative. There's so many of us and doing so many different roles at the same time because we have to. That's just the way it is. But sometimes we get confused in what we need to do and how we need to do it. And that goes from young people to our seasoned saints. And we need to do a better job of working together and understanding that we may look at things differently, but we want the same thing for Black American people to be protected, to be economically safe, have fair housing, great daycare choices, great schools. That's what we want. So join IDAAC, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
All right, brother. Be safe out there, and we'll touch base soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All All right, guys. I am excited about what we can do in Marion County for our Black community, for them to feel like they belong. And listen, if you've tried to reach out to the party before and you didn't feel like you got the response that you needed, I promise you, if you reach out to us at IDAAC, you will get some responses, and we will be asking you to come join this movement. It is important now more than ever that we are organized, galvanized, and ready to take it on. And listen, you don't have to be out front, because let's be clear, political violence is way up right now. So I get that. But there are plenty of things that you can do in the background. There's plenty of ways for us to be engaged in our community, because we got to have listening sessions. What does our community want? How do they want it? And how do they want our party to show up for them? Those are the questions we need to have answered when we're out talking to the people. All right, I got a rant. You know I do. I got a rant. Here we go. So the Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita sent a 6-page memo to all Indiana school superintendents and university administrators Monday night, saying that schools are wrong for not disciplining or firing teachers who make comments about Charlie Kirk's death. He also provided a legal analysis of a specific South Bend case, and the school district responded. Some schools have responded to those calls for action with excuses and equivocation, claiming that the First Amendment prevents them from terminating or disciplining educators for celebrating or expressing controversial views about the killing of Charlie Kirk, Rokita wrote. In many, if not most cases, those schools are wrong. He said additionally that a legal matter, schools have substantial authority to punish educators for divisive or controversial speech. As a matter of good government and sound public policy, schools would be wise to remove from the classroom teachers who express support for or attempt to excuse political violence. And as a matter of morality, this moment demands decisive action from blah. I can't read no more of that. I can't read no more of that. All right. The American Civil Liberties jumped in this one and said, government employees don't give up their First Amendment rights just to become employees of the government. They still are entitled to their own personal opinions that they are free to express online or in any other forms, so long as those are being made in their personal capacity. So my rant on this is quite simple. So first of all, we spent more time talking about that guy than we did the 3 young people who were shot in Colorado, or any of the other mass shootings that have happened in schools. That's the first thing. Second thing, most of the posts that I've seen that people are making in reference to the deceased have been his own words. They literally have been his own words. They literally are copying and pasting the things that the deceased said. So now they're saying that because they are reposting and holding his racist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic, and just downright awful comments that he has made about marginalized communities in America to account, holding those things and looking at his life's work in its totality, that's hate speech or celebrating his death. Ain't nobody celebrating death. There were a gazillion comments from Democrats from all over the country condemning political violence. They condemned it. But there are plenty of people who are saying, look, yeah, you can condemn. We are, as humans, we have the capability of holding more than one thought in our brain at a time. You can condemn the political violence, but also remind you that he was no hero and he is no martyr. The fact that they are passing proclamations about somebody who was not elected to office And he literally made a lot of money on hate speech. Now, y'all can say he was a Christian, but okay. He was a Christian nationalist, and that is quite different. So the fact that these teachers who had to deal with students who were probably coming to school and saying, Miss Teacher, Mr. Teacher, what did it, I heard my brother listen to this guy. What did he mean that the civil rights movement or the Civil Rights Act should never have been passed and that Martin Luther King was bad? I don't understand. They had to deal with that. But the fact that Ty Rakita is putting more energy into bootlicking the deceased for what? Extra kudo points? I need Ty Rakita to understand, first of all, the orange man is never going to notice him. He is like a bug he wants to squash. The orange man does not care about you, Ty Rakita, and will never care about you, Ty Rakita. So stop fronting. Stop fronting. And the First Amendment does protect the government from going after people for things that they say. That literally is what the First Amendment says. And from what I have seen, and if somebody said something else or another teacher somewhere celebrated, they probably shouldn't have done that. But they have every right to discuss how they felt about the deceased who said so many disparaging things about Black women, about Black people, about trans people. He decided in his mind how a woman should show up in the world. All they did was quote him. So Ty Rakita can stick it. And hopefully people will not be intimidated by his letter and will stand up to him and say, bro, get out of here with that. Go find something else to do, because we already have a teacher shortage as it is. We already have a teacher shortage. We already have a teacher shortage. We are underpaying our teachers. Our teachers have to drive Uber just to pay their bills. Some of them, not all of them, some of them. This is where we are, and you want to harass people because of a social media post? Bro, you don't care about the young people if this is what you want. And it is okay to have a difference of opinion. You don't get to come after somebody because they think differently than you. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to silence you and shut you down. I am so grateful that ABC and the leadership found a spine. They found a spine somewhere. I don't know where they borrowed it from, but they found a spine. And Jimmy Kimmel's back. So, guys, this is our country too. They do not get to decide how we exist in the country. We are a nation of laws. And from what I can tell, we don't mind following them. They're the ones that elected a 34-count convicted felon, not us. All right. Last thing. The Courier-Times reports Governor Mike Braun suggested Monday that Indiana lawmakers could return for a special session in November to redraw congressional boundaries. His clearest signal yet in support of a mid-cycle redistricting. Speaking on Fort Wayne's WOWO radio, Braun said that the state is in the process where we will evolve in that direction and continue to emphasize, as he has in recent weeks, that he wants Hoosier legislative leaders to take the lead on the issue. I want it to be where it wasn't forced upon our legislators, whatever. And some have already changed their point of view when they took a look at what good comes from it. We're going to find that probably the legislators will come around to it. I'm not going to keep reading what those clowns say, but Common Cause Indiana Executive Director Julia Vaughn said, I guess we shouldn't be shocked that Washington's outsiders will do pretty much anything to get Hoosiers to do their political dirty work. But making threats that could hurt Hoosiers are already hurting. That's a new low, she said on Tuesday. If we're being bullied, Hoosiers deserve to know who's making the threats and what's on the line, because multiple polls have shown that a majority of Hoosiers oppose this partisan power grab. So, Braun said some people are coming around. Are they coming around because they want to come around, or are they being coerced to come around? But honestly, do we really need redistricting right now? Think of how much money that's going to cost. Think about how much money it's going to cost our state to redistrict. Think about, if you're not having your meeting until November and the filing deadline, the filing period opens up in January, oh my gosh. That means all of your Republicans are going to be drawn into their districts. And then your goal is to draw Frank and Andre out of theirs or split their districts in a way that would make it difficult for them to get reelected. But here's my thing. Here's what I want you all to remember. As Sean and I were just talking about, if they were running on their policies, they wouldn't have to do this. But they can't run on their policies. They can't run on immigration anymore because, my gosh, the way that they are masking up and just snatching people as they're in court for their immigration hearing. In court for their immigration hearing, which means they're doing it the right way. Right? Since we know the Supreme Court says it is okay to racial profile to snatch people up off the streets. We know that they are not looking to educate our kids. They are and those that are being educated will not be well-rounded in their education because they're gutting so many different programs out of our public schools and our universities. They don't want you to have health care because the cuts that they're making are going to shut down health care providers, especially those in rural Indiana. They're cutting Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They're changing how Pell Grants work. They're not doing anything to actually help everyday people. The farmers are saying, bro, I can't sell my soybeans because of your tariffs. What are they doing to help people? So if they had to run on that, how do you think people would show up? I believe maybe the racism and misogyny and homophobia and the transphobia and making up things about communities is starting to wear thin when people are hurting. Starting to wear real thin. You can't keep, scaring me and fear-mongering me into believing that somebody else is taking my job when the federal government literally is working to close your farms down. They're going to make you an unemployed farmer because you're going to lose your farm. This is what's happening. So they got to redistrict. They got to split it up. But here's the deal. Some of the maps that I've seen, and of course, none of these are official maps because they haven't redrawn it yet. They might have. I don't know. But they're looking to divide Marion County up into 3. Go for it. Because we'll just run up the numbers. We'll run up the numbers in all 3 of those districts. And then we'll get every Democrat who's in the rural areas to get out and vote. We'll galvanize and we'll work with Michelle Higgs and get rural Indiana turned out. But we'll run up the numbers in Marion County, Lake County, Allen County, St. Joe County, Vanderburgh County. We'll run them up. Because you can't keep treating people bad and expecting them to just be complicit in this nonsense. We Democrats, say what you want. Everybody can say that Democrats have been soft or we haven't done this or we haven't done that. But we have consistently rallied against this administration, where the other side has consistently bent over backwards and got holes in the knees of their trousers. So one side is capitulating and the other side is fighting back with whatever force they have to fight back with. And we're doing it for you. We're doing it for you, right? Because our democracy is at stake here. Our democracy is at stake. I talked about this on a podcast that I did earlier today, where the Mississippi Attorney General has filed appeal to the Supreme Court to get rid of Section 2 of our Voting Rights Act. Section 2 is where you can seek recourse if you've been denied access to the ballot box. If you get rid of that and they treat you bad, there's nothing you can do about it. That's what, and they're taking it to the Supreme Court. And with this Supreme Court, who's to say they won't gut it? So guys, we have to be vigilant. This is no longer hyperbole. I am not being hyperbolic. Are y'all not seeing it? Are y'all not seeing they're coming after the First Amendment? And the Second Amendment is so wide open, it's like the OK Corral in the United States. The Orange Menace went to the UN and made us look like idiots. The people in other countries are like, what is going on over there? Do y'all not see he's a dumbass? And then you got people like Todd Rokita and Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith, and all they want to do is make it harder for you in Indiana. Now's the time for us to all step up and get engaged and get involved and try to do everything we can between now and next November, and never stop, honestly, because it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. You have to keep showing up. Democracy is a participation sport. You can't sit on the sidelines, because if you sit on the sidelines, you might just get ran over by that white nationalist, white supremacy BS that's coming down the track. And that's real talk, my friends. The time is now for us to get engaged, get involved, and help each other protect this democracy. All right. Join IDAAC Indy. Click on the link, become a member, or if you want to become a $10 a month recurring donor or whatever it is, please. It takes money. Whatever, $5 a month, we will take it. $10 a month, we will take it. I am a $10 a month donor, right? And that money adds up. It helps us, buy supplies. It helps us with candidates if they need a little extra help, right? It gets our volunteers snacks and water when they're walking in the heat, right? It's all the little things that we do to help this democracy stay afloat. Sign up, become a member, and we'll send you a volunteer form for you to let us know what it is that you want to do. Okay? Guys, I love doing this show. Indiana's own Dana Black. I love doing Turn Left. There are opportunities for us to get engaged and stay engaged. All right? We're going to cut this one short a little bit today. But you know what? I'm starting to ramp back up, and we've got more shows scheduled over the next couple of weeks. And I promise you want to listen in and find out everything that's going on. But in the meantime, I'll holler at you next time. Peace.
Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.